Hey, Fort Smith, welcome to the October 29th edition of Give Me 5 Minutes with Fort Smith City Director Neil Martin, where we talk about the events that happened last week and we look ahead to what's going on this week. Let's go ahead and get after it. Give me 5. On October 24th, we had a regular meeting. We voted on a number of items and had lots of discussion on various things. We approved projects for Creekmore Park, for Tillis Park, some really cool things happening there. We approved a temporary or 24-month moratorium on residential building in a certain area around the city. This is in relation to the new foreign military sales mission at Ebbing Air Force Base. This extends it for a couple more years, and it puts us in play for additional aircraft. So additional revenue, additional economic impact to the city. So we had good, productive discussions. The one about the moratorium probably had the most discussion. There were a number of developers, engineers, folks that came and expressed concern, and I think the board has concern as well. I don't think we want to have a moratorium on residential building in that area, but we understand the impact that it's going to make long term for the city of Fort Smith. And I think the builders and engineers and all those folks that spoke understand that as well. I don't think anybody's really excited about it, but I think we see the big picture. So that got a lot of discussion. We were pretty much 7-0, so unanimous in most of our decisions. A couple of things that we differed on was a rezoning request out on Highway 271 South. It's kind of outside the city limits. We were 6-1. Director Rigo voted against that. And then we voted to table an item for modernization of the downtown parking garage. It was a project that was going to cost maybe about $190,000. And we looked at the revenue for the parking lot or the parking garage. It's about $90,000 a year or $80,000 a year to be exact. And we looked at that, and just me sitting there thinking through this, it's like, maybe the city of Fort Smith doesn't need to be in the parking garage business. And so I know that we're going to, or at least I am going to take a look at that as we go through the budgeting process. Seems like a very big expense, not a lot of return, and is that something the city of Fort Smith even needs to be in? So we tabled that item to modernize the elevator there. So I encourage you to go to fortsmithar.gov/watch, and you can see the full discussion of all the things that we talked about. You can see a summary of how we voted. So I encourage you to do that. Next week, we have a study session. Now, this is going to be a very rare Monday night session. Tuesday being Halloween, we went ahead and backed it up and moved it to Monday. So I encourage you to come out to the Blue Lion, 101 North 2nd Street in downtown Fort Smith on Monday night, October 30th, to be a part of our meeting. So the items that we'll be discussing, the regularly scheduled meetings for 2024. So we'll look at the calendar, kind of plan that out. We'll also be looking at some more capital improvement plans. We'll be looking at the CIP or the 5-year CIP for IT, the 10-year CIP for solid waste, the 5-year CIP for police, 10-year CIP for water, 10-year for wastewater, and the 12-year for consent decree wastewater. So a lot of interesting things. I'm sure you'll want to pay attention to it. I encourage you to come down to the Blue Lion or watch us online at fortsmithar.gov/watch to hear those discussions. That's it for this week's Give Me 5. I hope the information was informative and made you better aware of the items in front of your board of directors. I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this, and I look forward to seeing you again next week on Give Me 5.